Dan Illman and Mike Beer, the first of two graded stakes races at Gulfstream on Saturday, kicks off the 50-cent late pick 4. It's race number 8, and it's the Grade 3 Marshua's River Stakes. Let's take a peek at this field. Fillies and Mares going 1 1/16 for $150,000. Andina Del Sur, Sweet By and By, they're very familiar with each other.
Yeah, they faced each other in their last couple of starts and traded decisions too, so we'll see who comes out on top this time.
Timeform U.S. Pace Projector has a long shot expected to make the lead, and I agree. I think the two, Piece by Piece, who has shown speed in her last 2 races, can make the front for trainer Ruda Brisset. Sweet By and By, though, this is a nice opportunity for her to sit second off of a big long shot and assert her class, getting the jump on her main rival.
Maybe they'll play it that way. If I was Louis Saez, I'd be putting this horse on the lead.
Well, she was on the lead 3 starts back, and she went gate to wire. She does certainly have that speed in her arsenal. A horse that will be coming from off the pace, and a horse that's taking a big step up in class, is the number 1 Malkia. And this was a very nice claim for $16,000 at Tampa Bay in January of 2019. The horse immediately reeled off 2 races, 2 winning races, and off a 6-month layoff. A nice score last time out against starter optional claiming foes. She's in the black silks on the outside. She's going to angle out now. She got a really nice setup in this race. They were going pretty fast, as you can see by those fractional times for this mile race, and she just does get it done. I give her some extra points winning off of the layoff. I thought Edgar Prado gave her a real nice ride here.
Yeah, good trip driving that race down. She was game to get it done in here. She is going to have to do better than that to beat this field.
Tough spot to make your first start against winners for the 2 Piece by Piece, who scored at Tampa Bay last time out. Let's watch that race. And she carved out some legitimate fractions going 1 1/16 at Tampa, but it looks like she's got this field at her mercy, and right about here she starts getting late, crying for the wire. She's going to get there to win by a neck. She obviously has to improve by leaps and bounds, but if they leave her alone and don't respect her, maybe she can take them a long way.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, she got relatively loose early in that race, and then she picked it up around that. I like the way she picked it up around the second turn in there, and you saw her just getting really tired at the end of that race. I didn't love the way she was finishing in there, but maybe she can take a step forward.
Wouldn't be a major graded stakes race at Gulfstream without Chad Brown's participation. He's got the number 3 Magic Star, a $500,000 daughter of Scat Daddy. This horse made her debut on Travers Day. Took a lot of money in a big field. Saved ground most of the way. Very confidently ridden. Also very green in finishing that race off.
She really was. I mean, I think it's worth noting in that race. I mean, when you go watch the replay, it's almost like she wasn't trying and she just ran by that field. But they did go a really good pace in front of her that day. That race set up very well for her. I like the way she won it, Dan. I wasn't as taken with her second start. Now, she was down inside and behind horses around the turn, so maybe it just wasn't ideal. But when she got clear in the stretch, she didn't really kick that hard.
Did you think she was too conservatively ridden in the early part of that race? Because it looked like Jose might have been able to get her a little bit closer. He decided to keep her down inside, near the back of the pack. But you're right, once she altered course to the outside, I think everyone was expecting the same thing we saw at Saratoga. It was the same trip, and she just couldn't kick with those horses. It was a good field. Creasy came back to run second in a 2X with an 85 buyer. English Soul actually was graded place in her next start, running 3rd in the Cardinal with a stereo 85 buyer. Let's talk about Sweet By and By, who was the beaten favorite in the Forever Together Stakes last time out. Sweet By and By had an outside post position. That kind of forced Manny Franco to take a little bit off the pace. We're going to turn into the stretch, and Sweet By and By made the first run. The gray and the red cap making the lead. Just to her outside is Andina Del Sur. I think Andina Del Sur got a really nice setup because she was able to relax in mid-pack and made the right run.
I mean, Andina Del Sur, I take nothing away from her. She ran well in here and wins it pretty. You know, she looks like she's going to win it pretty easily here. She'll just hold on at the end, but I like that performance from her. I hear what you're saying about the outside post. I just didn't really care for the ride that they gave Sweet By and By. You know, just taking a hold of her and giving her a 3-wide, 4-wide trip around the track. I didn't see any reason for that. And I sort of felt similarly about her racing the Athenia 2-back. I just don't know that Jose Ortiz did her any favors in that race by conceding the lead. The winner of that race saw him conceding. She just went up and took the race over and wound up holding on at the end. I don't know. I just didn't like the trip she got in her last 2 races. I would love to see Louis Saez get way more aggressive with her in this spot.
And I would think he's going to be either 1 or 2 on the backstretch and probably will be in front when the field turns into the lane. Andina Del Sur, Tommy Albertrani has persevered with this mare. She showed some ability from the get-go, a graded stakes winner as a 3-year-old.
Yep.
Went through a little bit of a drought, but now has won 2 out of her last 3 races. She has a very short burst of speed, Mike, and we saw that in the last race when she made that big 4-wide bid to the front, bang, and then all of a sudden she get a little tired.
Hold on,
so it's all up to Javier to time this right. Timeform US has her in a comfortable spot, sitting 3rd. I think that trip would work out very well for her here. She's in form.
She's a rock solid horse. There aren't a ton of wins on her card, but she just shows up every time and runs. If she gets the right trip, I mean, she's supposed to be pretty hard to beat in here. I don't know if I would take 2 to 1 on her, Dan, because I don't think she's that kind of horse. But she's definitely a major player in here.
Can you make the argument that Marubra, who's going to be one of the longer shots in this race, is just completely dirtied up? This mare had good form in France. She was a listed winner. And ever since she's come over here, she's either been running in marathon distances, in races like the Modesty against Juliet Foxtrot, where she had absolutely no chance, races at Kentucky Downs where she's 50 to 1, or has caught wet turf courses where maybe she doesn't like it. I don't know. I think she'll get a fair chance in here. If you give her some pace, I think she can maybe get a piece of this.
I think she can too. Ultimately, I didn't love her form since she's gotten over here, but maybe she'll just get the right trip in here. I mean, I hear what you're saying about them trying to stretch her. They're trying different things with her, but she won stakes races going a mile and 3/8 over there, so I don't see why it would be a big difference for her running in those kinds of races over here, and she just didn't run that well, I didn't think.
Munchkin Money looked very good winning her first start for Christophe Clement in June at Belmont. Steady real hard in between a tight spot in the stretch, just burst right on through to win that race. Now, she hasn't won since, but last time out in the My Charmer, we're going to take a look at that race from Munchkin Money. This was a race that was just dominated on the lead by Mitchell Road, which is a much better horse than the rest of the field. She's 2 to 5. This pace holds up. The only one really making up meaningful ground to finish 3rd in here is going to be Munchkin Money. I think that kind of bodes well for her in this spot if you give her some pace. I just have never thought of her as a graded stakes kind of horse, but this seems like a comfortable spot.
I kind of agree with you. I mean, I struggled with what to do with her in here because she does have that race, the first one for Clement, where she ran so well, and you can make excuses for her starts since then. Is she a true, graded stakes kind of horse? I don't know, but I could use her at the right price.
She may need a little bit of a hot pace to set her up in here, but she's in pretty sneaky form, just to run a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Here's our top pick for the Marshua's River. I'm going back to Andina Del Sur. I think she works out a good stalking trip. I think she engages Sweet By and By, and we'll find out who's better in the lane. I went 5, 4, 7, and 3. You're going Sweet By and By, getting the jump on Andina Del Sur this time around with a more comfortable trip. And you like Magic Star for Chad. You feel that this horse is all upside.
I mean, I'm willing to give her one more chance. I was pretty disappointed in her last race. I could give her one more chance. I tell you this, I wouldn't take a short price on her in the win end, and I think there's a chance she really gets bet in this race. We'll see what happens. I just want to give Sweet By and By one more chance, and I want Saez to get aggressive with her.
4, 3, 5, 7 for Mike, 5, 4, 7, 3 for me. Grade 3 Marshua's River, kicking off a 50-cent late pick 4 at Gulfstream on Saturday. It's race number 8 and it has an approximate post of 3:34 Eastern. Good luck.